everyone! We're going to talk about chenille yarn again today because a few days ago I posted a video that you may or may not have seen where I chatted through the reasons that I'm having trouble working with chenille yarn and why basically I decided that I wasn't going to design anything else with it again because it super frustrated me. Well, I had some really interesting comments underneath. It was probably an even split between people being like, yeah, boo chenille yarn, and other people being like, hang on, I don't quite agree. But what was really awesome is that a handful of you really kindly made some suggestions to me about how I could try and improve how I'm working with this particular type of yarn. And there's 4 in particular that I wanted to have a go with. And I thought, well, let's film it so you guys can see too. And if we find some great ways to use this yarn, which I want to like it. It's soft and pretty. I want to like this yarn. So let's have a look at them. We'll go through them in turn. I'll give them a go and I'll let you know what I think. If you want to have a go with these techniques at home as well, if it's also a fibre that you've been struggling with, I'd also really love to hear your feedback because, as we know, an experiment where one person does 4 things is not valid science. So give it a go along with me if you want to. That would be really cool. And again, I'd really like to hear your feedback and hopefully, maybe, you guys might have been able to change my mind about super soft chenille yarn. So the first suggestion that we're going to look at is using 2 strands and a bigger hook. And that makes sense, right? Because one of the main problems is that this looks like a fairly thick yarn, but actually in reality what it is soft fuzziness over a very fine string inside. And I think that's why it snaps and gets caught. So let's give that a go. So the recommendation on this particular yarn is to use a 5mm hook. So let's go mad. Let's use 2 strands and a 7mm hook and see what happens with the magic circle. Here's the 7mm crochet hook. So let's cut off a couple of strands of this yarn. Okay, and we'll just fold it in half. So when I make a magic circle, I go around those 2 middle fingers there, pinch, through. God, 7's big. I don't normally use one like that. And a circle. I talked halfway through and then forgot how to make a magic circle. Right, I'm going to start again. I'm so not used to doing things at a different angle or even with a different sized crochet hook. You would not think that that would fox me after this long doing this hobby. Right, let's try it again. We're doing the 2-strand method. Come on. Pick up the yarn and pull it through. Pick up the yarn and pull it through. Okay, so we've made our loop. Dun, 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 dun. And let's say we're going to make a magic circle of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Apparently I'm really slow with a big hook. 5 and 6. Okay, moment of truth. That's really chunky though, isn't it? If I then switch to the smaller ring on 1 strand after, anyway, let's not worry about that now. So, oh my goodness. And then when you pull 1 strand, which 2 go together as a pair? Let's try pulling those 2. Oh God. Oh no. I think this is me and not the methods, but I can't tell which are the pairs and regardless, whichever pair I pick, I can't pull them through. Okay, in the name of science, let's assume maybe I did something wrong that time. I'll try it one more time, but I still couldn't pull anything through there. Maybe let's try it with a slightly less ridiculously huge hook. Let's try with a 6mm instead this time. Right, so let's get double strands. Okay, so we've made our loop again, and now let's make some stitches into it. I don't have a lot of yarn here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is going to be a magic circle of 4 because apparently I'm really stingy when I cut off yarn. Okay, now let's look at this a bit more carefully. So those are the ones that we'd want to pull first. Is it working? Now, obviously you can't see over the film, I tried to pull gently at first, then I put, okay. So I'm really sorry, but for me personally, the two-strand method, it didn't work. If you're watching and you're like, there's a really specific thing here that you're doing wrong, please tell me, I'll try again. But so far, two strands, not a winner for me. Let's try the next one. Do 2 rounds before closing the magic circle. So what they are saying is make your magic circle, but don't close it. Work the next 2 rounds. So let's have a go with that one. And I won't just cut off a stupidly small bit of yarn this time. Right, so let's make our magic circle. Ooh, see, I'm still on a 6. Let me go back to my 5. Isn't it funny how you try and crochet at a different angle? Because obviously I normally do this in my lap, and your whole ability to think properly falls out the window. Right, let's try again. 1, 2. We're going to do 6 again. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Don't close it. No, that was me. Was it don't close it completely? Okay, let's just try not closing it. So, oh, this hurts my brain. So I'm going to imagine it's closed, and I'm going to work 2 stitches into each of these. So, because that's what we do for those of you who aren't familiar. If we've made a magic circle and then we're wanting to increase, we work 2 stitches into the first round from the magic circle into each stitch, and then we go up in a pattern of 1, then 2, 1, then 2, all the way around the round, and then the next one is 1, 1, 2. Okay. I think that's the end. Oh, I think there's one more stitch there. Okay, just, they said do a couple of rounds, so let's do the next one. So 1, 1, 2. The problem here is that I feel like if this now goes wrong, if we're assuming that I'm actually making something, then I've put even more effort in before it's gone wrong. But obviously I suppose if it's a reliable method, then that's fine, isn't it? Some say I overthink things. Okay, right. So now we've got this, the little hole in the middle, and then I'm going to pull the magic circle like normal. Oh, oh, it moved. No. Go on. Right. Oh, really, I was optimistic about this one. You know, at some point you've just got to wonder, is it me? And see, look, then it's frayed and snapped. Although, I've got to tell you, it does look closed. Okay, so I'm going to give that like half points, because actually, if I'm making a toy, all that gubbins is going to hide inside, isn't it? So it's not, yeah, that is secure. Okay, so it's not made the neat magic circle that I would make with another yarn type, but I have actually managed to close it. So half points, I would say, for the keep going and then carry on and try method. Okay, so that's 2 that we've tried. The next one says, when you make the circle, add in a strand of worsted weight yarn that you're going to then cut out afterwards, and that's the one that you're going to use to close the circle. And this is the one that I feel the most optimistic about. The only chenille yarn that I had left is white. And now obviously if you're wanting to do this for an actual crochet pattern, you want to hide the other strand of yarn. But it probably doesn't matter for us for now. I'm just looking to see what's worsted. Right, now I'm going to make the magic circle with 2 strands again. Now I'm going to use a bigger hook, because obviously that's thicker fibres at this point, isn't it? So let's up the hook size a little just for the magic circle and see what happens. Through we go. Okay, right, 6 stitches again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, go on. You can oh my. Okay, I'm excited. It worked. It completely worked. It just like legendarily worked. And then all you would need to do is take that loose strand of the acrylic yarn and just sew that into your first stitch along there to tighten that in, and then you can snip that off and keep working in the chenille yarn. So this is a game changer, because that is like basically the majority of my problem. So you are going to have a thicker magic circle and then need to change back down hooks. But I think for most things that's not going to notice. Ooh, this is really exciting. So I'm just putting in another round now to just see how that looks as you go. Oh my. Thank you so much. And to the ones that I failed to do as well, because I'm sure that that is me and not your ideas. But it's one of those things, isn't it? Crochet is like anything else. There are different methods of learning and doing techniques work for different people, and the materials that those people have at hand, of course. But this, for me, I mean, this is a game changer. I will try it a few more times, but if it keeps working for me, I shall add this into the free patterns that I give away on my website and here, indeed, and recommend it to people for working with chenille yarn, because that was so simple. I do have one more to try. What was the other thing that was suggested to me was to use the chain 2 method. And the chain 2 method is absolutely fine for a lot of projects, but I have never thought that it was appropriate for amigurumi, because you can't close the circle. But actually maybe with this fluffy yarn that doesn't matter so much. So with the chain 2, so if you're not familiar, you make a chain of 2 stitches and then you go back into the start of the chain and you just make your stitches in there as though you were working into your magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's actually pretty good too. So I know that this circle is not closed, and that bothers me like on a psychological level that it probably shouldn't. But because of the fluffy factor of the yarn, if I do that, it should focus a bit better. Because of the fluffy factor of the yarn, it does actually look closed and the stuffing wouldn't come out of it. Okay, so that's exciting. So using 2 strands of the chenille yarn, for me personally, I couldn't make that work. And doing 2 rounds before closing, likewise, it closed enough that it was usable, but it felt messy. And again, so that didn't really work for me. But you just using the chain 2 method instead of a magic circle, I would say that that is good enough, and it is better than being annoyed by your magic circle repeatedly not closing. However, personally for me, for what I'm making, hands down, the winner is getting a strand of acrylic yarn and working the magic circle with that and then tucking it in afterwards. If you have the same colour that you can do that with, I was so impressed by that one. So thank you so much for the suggestions. I am always happy to hear different ways of doing things. This is a hobby, as I'm sure you all know, where we are all continuously learning, no matter how long we've been doing it. And learning new things is fun and exciting, and especially when you're learning new things about something that you feel passionate about. And I wanted to like this yarn, and I think, you know, hats off, thank you so much. I will be trying to use this again now, having a bit more of a play with it. I've got to be honest, I think I'm going to try. So there was some couple of really kind suggestions of different brands that people find easier to work with, and I'm going to go and order a few of those, and maybe we'll try those out in a different video if that's something that's interesting to you guys. But anyway, thank you, legends. So happy. Thank you so much. And yeah, give Chenille yarn another chance with me, and let me know how you get along. I can't wait to hear from you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. And in the meantime, happy crocheting.